Here's the aquarium habitat. Habitat complex. All put together, all working, no hamster, because as you can see, I still need replacement seals on the tunnel. It's bleeding air like crazy. Those are still in the mail. Found a source for the gaskets. It doesn't require me to drive 30 miles to an RV store, but it's taken a sweet time getting here. When I ordered it, it had a little message that said may be delays in shipping due to inclement weather, which I assume is related to the cold snap that froze Texas and a bunch of other states. Starting to feel like the universe is conspiring against this project. So what have I been doing with my time? 3 things this month. I have a brand new channel that is linked to in my main profile page. It's down with Hamptoons, the animation channel. Formerly Hampshire Gaming, the stream channel, now Hamdad Streams. The third channel is titled Hamdad Plays. It's a repository of VR Let's Plays I did back in 2016, 2017, and 2018. Mostly of older, often overlooked VR titles from the early days of like Oculus. Second thing was I'm working on a children's book with a wonderful, charming artist from Twitter, Tiny Yam. She does the cutest hamster illustrations. It is going to be Hampshire-based. It's going to take place in the Hampshire world and use the lore of hamsters, a tribe of hamsters that escapes from the pet store and then tries to establish settlements in various places that they feel they'll be safe and they won't be rediscovered and then recaptured by humans, such as in the woods, which doesn't work out. They get trampled by hikers. Then underground, which doesn't work out because the land is being developed by bulldozers. Then ultimately they collect bottles and jars to create their own little underwater city, which is where the whole Hampshire storyline comes in. The focus of it is really centered around the tiniest hamster, who nobody takes seriously, but he has big ideas, even though he's a tiny hamster. He's an inventor ham. He invents, and he's the one who comes up with a winning idea for them to live underwater. And so the story, the main theme of the story is really to believe in your ideas against anybody who says that they won't work but doesn't really know that. The third project is a video game project I'm working on with a very old friend of mine who has gotten into game dev and has in fact hired a programmer, a musician, and an artist to establish his own indie development company. And he came to me and I pitched an idea to him. He loved it and it's going to get made. It's not a Hampshire game. Don't get too excited. It's not related to Hampshire, at least not the first one. It's an idea I've been sitting on for a long time that I feel is limited in scope enough to be suited to a development house of this scale, and has an art style suited to the talents of the artist that he's hired. It will be funny, though. It'll be very humor-focused. If you like my sense of humor and want to play a game entirely based around it, this may be for you. So keep an eye out for those projects. Oh, 4 projects, I guess. There's one more. Although it's kind of an open secret. The Minecraft server. I've been working on that for a while. I've had the map for ages, but actually getting it hosted by somebody turned out to be kind of a trick. I've got a host now. It's working pretty well. I've been beta testing it, having a few people join just to stress test things and to see which plugins work and which ones cause problems. I felt that this was the time to do a server tour on the main channel. So without further ado, it's the dawn of a new day on the official Hampshire Minecraft server. We're up here on the Skyring, which is not the underwater colony you probably came to see, but there are 3 colonies on the server, which you can choose between if you're not a sea dweller like I am. You do have to choose one. This is a Patreon perk, by the way. This is a whitelisted server, and the only people who will be whitelisted are patrons. I hate to exclude anybody, but this is being hosted by a server in Alaska. And the performance of that computer and the internet connection it's on are such that there are only 30 slots. Like, it can only really support 30 people at one time, which that doesn't mean I only have to whitelist 30 people, just because often that's not all the slots are in use at once, only very, very rarely. So I'll be able to whitelist more than that number of people, but that's as many as can play at one time. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. I don't want anyone to be left out, but I have to put some kind of limiting factor. I also don't want to let just anybody in, because this would be a griefer's paradise, frankly. So this is the Skyring colony. You can see down there, that's where we harvest our lumber so we can spare the ring and keep it nice and pretty. That's the farm, same thing. We don't want to farm on the ring. We want to keep that off of the ring, so the ring can stay a nice, unspoiled, natural, natural, it's man-made, wilderness. There's the livestock
disk, the workshop disk, where we have all our job blocks for our villager friends. We have storage. We have well, not storage. That's actually inside the. Let me just go down and show you. These are the top floor apartments, which have skylights, and that's very nice. That's a nice amenity to have. It's actually very cozy when it rains, which it shouldn't be raining because the clouds are far below us, but it does anyway. And it's really comfy to lie in here and look up at the glass with the rain falling on it. But the interesting thing about living in a flying building, basically, is that there are not just skylights, there are earth lights, which look down at the earth with the clouds below you. That's a view that's hard to get anywhere in reality, right? Except I guess on a fucking airship or something. Everybody gets an apartment. Everybody gets a starting complement of tools and an elytra, depending on where they choose to live. You don't get an elytra if you live underwater. You get a enchanted turtle helmet, obviously, so you can breathe underwater. So that's the top and bottom apartments. They all have things to recommend them. I like the bottom apartments actually more because they don't only have a view of the earth, they also have a view of the underside of the ring, which is an interesting visual. But let's continue to the main deck where we will find the portal, which is what links the sky colony to the underwater colony. In case you don't have an elytra, you can still get up here. Here's all the animals, very confused animals who have no fucking idea what's happening because they look down and they see clouds. Got pandas, got turtles. I don't know where my other turtles went. They might have escaped somehow. Go find your brothers. We got a hatch for letting them skydive down to the ocean. Go to the surface of the earth and tell them about this place. Spread our message. He'll be fine. That's the ocean down there. He'll be fine. I'll bring up some more eggs later. We also have turtles that we breed underwater. And also we have a way to release them into the sea, so we're a net positive on the environment, unlike almost any other settlement. We actually increase wild populations of turtles. So that's the livestock workshop module. We got brewing, enchanting. We got all the job blocks. We got blast furnaces, smokers for the meat, everything could possibly. Not that we do a lot of smelting up in the sky because, of course, we don't have access to ores up here. But it's nice to have these anyway, just hanging around for people who bring a lot of resources up with them from the earth. If you look down from here, you can see parts of the underwater colony over there. It's really hard to see through the clouds. I wish the clouds would cooperate. Not much to see here, just lumber. Here's our nice farm, which has integrated auto harvesting beehives. You can push a button and it will automatically harvest bottles of honey or honeycombs from these hives, which I didn't know how to do for a while, so I used to have a much more complicated mechanism for that. Let's look down. There you can see Newtown. Newtown is the part of the colony that's not under the ice. Old Town was built entirely under the ice just as an exercise, as a challenge to myself, to see if I could build a whole underwater base without any access to the surface, which it turned out to be entirely feasible. A lot of people, when they build underwater colonies, they panic. They build in shallow water because they think they need to be able to escape to the surface every time they miscalculate and are going to drown. But it's much safer to just have air bubbles around at depth because there's a shorter distance between you and the air bubble than it is between. It's just instinct. Our instincts tell us to go up. So there's the Megadome over there. Spare me your Doug Dimmadome jokes. I've already heard them all. Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Underwater Megadome. You can basically see everything up from here that you could possibly want to. And I'm going to actually hop down there in a minute. I have thoughtfully supplied little igloo villages on the ring itself for those of you who don't want to be cooped up in an apartment and would rather have a more naturalistic environment at the cost of safety. I don't illuminate the nature ring. I want it to be able to spawn mobs so you can hunt mobs in the sky, which you can't do underwater, except for, I guess, the drowned. So you have to live a very rustic lifestyle and be inside of your home at sundown to prevent your shit from getting pushed in. They're very cozy. They have brown carpeting. They have all the usual starter stuff. That one doesn't happen to have any. I need to get to that. But you can live a mostly normal lifestyle up here if you want to. It's just there's no clouds. At some points, at some perspectives, you really can't tell you're not on the surface unless you turn a certain way. But anyway, let's head down to the ocean and see if we can't take a look at the underwater colony, which is probably what most of you came here to see. I must say, though, there is roof access, as I think I showed you, and it is great fun at night to use your bow or your trident to snipe mobs, hostile mobs, especially if they're standing on the edge, because you can if you don't have an enchanted bow or trident, you won't one shot them, you won't kill them, but you'll knock them over the edge and they'll plummet to the surface. So let's fucking head down there, I guess, and see what there is to see beneath the surface of the sea. Yeet! Quite a view from below as well. And in fact, it is so large, it is so muy gordo, that it casts a shadow that alters the day-night cycle of the overworld. There are parts of the overworld now that are permanently in shadow and can spawn undead mobs during the day. I see you. That's right, bitch. Terror from the deep. So this is, let me head for the boat. It'll be much faster. We're closer to land than I wanted, but they altered terrain gen a long time ago in Minecraft, so we don't have gigantic oceans anymore. And we also don't have large deep sea biomes. They're interrupted by seamounts that I've had to burrow through, like over there and over there in several places, just to get to new underwater valleys that had more room to build. You can kind of catch a glimpse under the ice there of Old Town. We can't really see it very well because the ice covers it, but you can see what's going on under there. Over here we have a farming dome, which is used not for food. We have another one of those elsewhere. Instead for sugarcane and cacti, which we need for dye to make a green carpet, which you'll see what we use for in a moment. We have the workshop module, which has storage and job blocks. We have a lumber module for growing trees. We have 3 apartment modules, each of which has 14 apartments of the same size as you saw in the sky. So you can live the same way in either environment with roughly the same quality of life. That's a total of 42? I can math. Shut up. Yes, I can. 42 apartments underwater, which is excessive because, of course, there's never going to be that many people online at once. But I wanted to make sure absolutely everybody who wanted an apartment underwater could get one. I anticipated less demand in the air. If there's more demand for the sky colony, we can always add more just by building up or down, like adding another layer vertically. It looks so fucking. It looks even cooler from underwater. Let's get underwater in a second and show you what the sky colony looks like from beneath the sea. Before we do that, let's look at the Megadome area. This is the park. This is the nature recreational area where we don't use it for anything. We don't harvest trees here. We keep it nice and pretty because this serves the same purpose as the Sky Ring. It's just there so we have elbow room, so we don't get stir crazy and cabin fever, being in a cooped up series of interconnected buildings underwater all the time. We can run around, we can ride horses, we can frolic, and we can in fact frolic most gaily. Kalu Kalay, and so forth. We can boat, which is kind of stupid, but you can ride a boat on the surface of that pond down there while underwater. You can fish out of the pond. You can fish out of the moon pool anyway, but it's more comfortable with larger body water. There's a bar down there. Everybody wanted a bar. I don't know why. You can't really do much with the bar. I'll show you. There's one of the many moon pools. There are moon pools distributed throughout the colony for easy access to the surface from anywhere. And people who don't know what a moon pool is don't know that's how you're supposed to enter. So oftentimes newbies to the server who don't pay attention to this video or any sort of instructions I give them, they get excited because they see the colony and they're like, I want to be down there. I want that. I want that. So they head straight down without a turtle helmet not realizing how deep it is, not thinking of what they're going to do if they get down there and can't find a way in. They're going to drown. So they panic and they break glass to get in, but they don't have glass on their person yet. So they can't repair it, and it destroys carpet. They can't repair the carpet. So they plug the hole with whatever they have on their person, which is usually dirt. So you can always tell when a bunch of new people just joined the colony because there's a bunch of dirt blocks where glass should be. Here we are in the underwater colony. We're in rapture now, bitches. Butter up your buttholes. Not necessarily because we're in rapture, but because butter is a good way to maintain the softness and plasticity of your butthole well into old age. Actually, it would be cool to see this at nighttime, wouldn't it? I should probably have not jumped out of the boat so quickly. Is the boat where I want it to be? It's probably not. It lights up at night like lanterns. Look at that. Much better view at night than during the day. So let's head back down. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? I enchanted this trident with Bane of the Undead just so that I could one-shot zombies, which are by far the most prevalent threat down here. I used to have conduits everywhere, but they give you unlimited water breathing and unlimited night vision, which makes it basically pointless to live underwater. And because I wanted using your breathing gear like the turtle helmet to be part of the experience, like scuba gear. But you don't really need to do that if you have conduits. Here's the Megadome. Doug Dimmadome is somewhere in here. He's nowhere to be found currently. Here's the green carpet I talked about. This is the sole reason why we farm cacti. They cover up the underfloor sea lanterns. You can also use glowstone. You're going to get some ideas from this video probably. I've learned a lot about how to create a convincing underwater biome because I can't just have torches everywhere. That wouldn't look right. I can't have exposed sea lanterns either. And look at this. Can't have that just sticking out there, can I? So I figured out you can cover it with carpet that will blend in with the grass somewhat. It depends on the texture pack, which reminds me, everybody's going to be like, oh, what texture pack is that? What texture pack? It's John Smith Legacy 1.16.4, which is shockingly almost completely up to date. It's been maintained over time, but also with the 3D model add-on pack, which you can also get that adds 3D details to the surfaces of certain blocks like this. It gives the sort of illusion of parallax mapping. They don't all have it, but a lot of them do. Let me go back to the bar and show you. The bar has got the nice clown dispensers for the booze. See the surface of the table? Little 3D details poking out. Also those ceiling tiles. They stick down a little bit in certain points. It's nice. It's a nice aesthetic. And it also has reinforced glass, which looks correct for the underwater colony. The bar has cups, it has seating, it has a brewing stand, which you'd expect. The clown nose dispensers dispense alcohol, which in Minecraft is just potions of slowness and strength. Because you get retard strength when you're drunk. I shouldn't say that, but you also get like physically slower and more clumsy. That's the closest approximation of alcohol in this game that I could think of. Also has a nice parkside view, such as it is beneath the sea, and a fine modern appliance for playing your jams, your bops. And Pigstep is a bop. Make no mistake about that. Get a load of this. Is this what pigs listen to? Do they just hear this all the time in their head? They'd be vibing. You can dance. You can do whatever. This is just a place to blow off steam. We got wall clocks. We got whatever you can imagine. We got wall clocks everywhere, so you don't necessarily have to have a watch on you right away. Although it is included in the starter kit. B, are you okay? You okay there? You need anything? All right. They keep trying to go to land. Why do you want to go to land? This is your home. Why is the ocean not good enough for you, B? He's a sea bee. Sea bees. Turtle? What are you doing in the boat, Turtle? You can swim anyway. You don't need a boat, and you don't even know how to use it. You don't fit in there. Too ridiculous. And a bunny, boat and bunny, together. But that's forbidden love, senpai. The world will never understand. You can actually swim underwater while you're underwater. It's like exhibit designed this dome. I actually thought about making this deep enough to put a small glass bubble habitat inside the body of water inside of Megadome. That's going too far. We am play gods at that point. But although it feels like playing God, because I sculpted all this myself. This is a natural environment. I hand built this. It was very very Genesis, Book of Genesis, just like the Sky Ring was to sort of craft a landscape like an artisan. I think I did a good job of positioning landscape features and trees in such a way as to block the perimeter of the dome from view. So there are certain places and perspectives from which you can't really immediately tell you're underwater. Like here, it just looks like the surface at night. There's some places where you can't even see the sky, and you wouldn't know you're underwater until you move. It's not quite big enough where you can really fool people. Like if I started new players out in a village in the middle of a truly giant dome, they might not realize right away they're inside a glass dome because the glass would be too far away. But that's the mega dome area. The animals are so good as to stick to the naturalistic space and not wander out. I used to think I needed a fence there. I don't need a fence there, actually. Animals know to stay to the natural. They're probably very confused. So they probably can sense something is off because they spin. They spin. Something about their pathfinding doesn't like being underwater. These are the apartments. There's 42, I believe I said. If it says vacant, once you join, you can claim it just by changing the sign, and you can customize anything you want in terms of decor, but not the physical shell of the habitat. Everybody gets this to start with. They get breathing apparatus, they get instructions, they get fishing rod, clock, compass, food supply, suitable for sea dwellers. They get tools and a trident. Very generous loadout, but you can't be both. You can't be a sky dweller and a sea dweller. You have to pick, and you commit to the culture of that space. And you commit to patriotism for your chosen colony. I want to have multiple different cultures. I want them to have conflict. I want them to trade. I want them to interact. Nice little reminder of what you gave up to come down here in my apartment, which I feel has suitable decor for my inclinations. Nice wizard poster. I'm something of a wizard enthusiast. I have like a 3 gigabyte wizard folder, which is mostly just animals with wizard hats on, pixel art of wizards like French kissing each other. You know, the usual stuff. It's a normal hobby. It also has a really nice view. Every apartment pod has a moon pool somewhere in it, just for convenience, so you don't have to walk very far if all you want to do is get to the surface. You can pop out real quick, just to swim around. There's another apartment pod over here. You can go moon pool to moon pool if you want to. These turtle helmets are really good. They're enchanted with respiration 3, so they last quite a long time. The bubbles take a long time to bleed down. You can spend quite a long time out in the water. We are sea dwellers after all. And that lets you do things like standing on a seamount and just admiring the view and taking your time, like up here, which you can't see super far, but you shouldn't be able to. And just living on the land in the ocean environment, not feeling like you're a invader or in some kind of trouble. So that's a claim department. I'm going to take a peek in here. I probably shouldn't, but I really like how he decorated this place. We got this view of the sky colony through the skylights. I think is pretty cool. Looking up from underwater and seeing that giga structure in the sky is really fucking dope. It's really futuristic. What other server has anything like this? I mean, you got your giant meatball. Okay, that's impressive. That's a lot of meat. Giggity. You got your fucking Atlantis temple like Gargura has. But Gargura wants to. She quote unquote plans to build underwater. I think I'm 1 or 2 steps ahead of her though. Much as I love her channel and don't wish to speak any ill of that gremlin, she is my favorite virtual internet gremlin. We got propaganda slogans on the signs, instructions, guidelines for living underwater. There's world building. There's lore down here. It establishes like a history of this world and inclination of what our culture is like. I wanted them to have different cultures. The underwater culture is very controlling. It's high control. It's somewhat militaristic, but it's high control because you live in a very fragile environment, so it has to be. The sky colony is more libertarian because you can get away with a lot more stuff up there without it affecting the safety of your neighbors than you can underwater. Here's apartment pod. What was it? C? Apartment pod A. We got A, B, and rotate. That's my my legally distinct catchphrase, which no other streamer uses. Rotate. See if you roll your R's, it adds a little bit of flair. People like that. We like to maintain a little bit of levity around here. This is the third apartment pod. I built the most underwater living space because I anticipated that would be the most popular. You can kick these guys out of here. They're just janitors, basically. They're just hired help. Aqua, stuff you can spell with banners. Here's the labor module, which is divided into 2 floors to optimize the use of interior space. Whenever there's a tall dome or hemisphere, I like to make use of the vertical space. In sci-fi, whenever you see dome cities on Mars, they make terrible, abysmally inefficient use of space. That like the whole top 90% of the dome is wasted just because they wanted a high ceiling. When you could just fill that thing with floors and have way more living space. It does not make sense that why you would build domes like that. At least not underwater. Maybe on Mars, because it's just a bit more material to build the dome bigger. But underwater, that's all buoyancy. That's buoyant air you have to weigh down. So you don't want to waste any space underwater if you're designing habitats. This is the lumber module, excuse me, for trees, which prevents us from ruining the megadome. We want to keep that pretty like we do with the sky ring. There's our sea rabbits up there. We're actually really quite deep. You can see from the shadow on the surface. This is as deep as it's possible to build in the game currently. Here is the cacti farm, which is caged in to keep bees from killing themselves. Bees love to kill themselves on cacti. Sugarcane, or papyrus, I guess, is what you make. You make paper out of that. This guy lives up here. He's the farm overseer. That's just his life and his job. Again, not wanting to waste the vertical space inside the domes. Let me, what do we got here? Strad. Sounds like a bop. I did not mean to feed you. Excuse me, sir. I know you want more fish. You cannot have it. So here's the mining module, which is one of 2 in the colony. We have to block off mine access because undead mobs love to come up from the mine and fuck with us. We have doors here also to block their movement. And you can't really let creepers into your underwater glass house for obvious reasons. We got smoker for meat. We got blast furnace for metal ores. Just like in the sky colony, but less of it because space is more constrained down here. Every single cubic unit of living space underwater has to be stolen away from the sea at great effort. It takes blood, sweat, and tears to live underwater in this game, but it's really rewarding. More propaganda, more propaganda. Dive. Glory to Seatopia, which is the best one so far. I'm going to put one of these in the other tunnel soon. This is one of the tunnels through a seamount I talked about. Ocean. Got some growth on the glass here. Don't clean this off. I like this. We're under the ice now. When have you seen this view in Minecraft of an underwater structure from inside looking up at ice above you and fucking icebergs? Hello, bee friend. You're going to go quite a long ways to get pollen if you go down there. I guess they have pathfinding sufficient for that. So here's where the food is grown. We have every type of crop you could possibly want except for cocoa pods, because you need jungle trees for that, and that's not something I've prioritized. Because what do you need that for? Chocolate, right? Who gives a shit? Red plush carpeting everywhere because everybody is royalty. Everybody's a celebrity in this underwater colony of ours, Seatopia. We have auto harvesting beehives, but we also have, crucially, smoke dispensers. We have underneath here. We have I'll show you. Oh, that one's actually been removed. I wonder what the fuck is up with that. We on most of these anyway. There's a fireplace, and we can use smoke to put the bees to sleep, so that if the bees die out in the sky colony, which has happened recently, we can use a silk touch pick to transport bees from underwater up to the sky colony because they get lost up there, and then replenish their supplies from using this cedar population. So over here, I guess, is where I should go next. We notice we have auto composters in the spiral staircases. There's a reason for that. You put stuff in here, it goes into the composter and is dispensed out the bottom. That's for efficient use of space, but also I like these colonies to be lived in. I like them to be functional. They're not just for show. They're everything about them is functional and they have a reason to exist. In this case, our reason to exist is kelp farming. We have a bunch of kelp farming pods all around the outside of the colony. Always they're positioned near a auto composter, and I'll show you why that is. You harvest like this, super fast, super fast. It's fast growing. It's fast to use the bubble plumes to get up here to the catcher. There's a catcher net, so you don't have to swim all the way to the surface to collect all the kelp leaves. And then you use the bubble plume to get back down and avoid that drowned. So there's an aquavator up and down that facilitates quick harvesting. I've thought of everything. So then once again, there's another. I should go through the other one and show this place off later. Could you not? So if you want a kelp farm, you can do that down here. This is the turtle release chute, where I'll demonstrate that. You can release turtles out in the if you have excess turtles. I don't really. I should probably not do this because I can spawn more, whatever. You can release turtles into the wild, but they can be bred down here. If you spawn turtles from this spot, they'll return to it. They'll willingly breed down here. Go and tell the rest of your kind of my generosity for releasing you from this prison. Anyway, up through here, put the kelp into the auto composter and watch it do its thing. Every couple ticks. Some of them get wasted. And it comes out as bone meal. What's important about bone meal is that if you're going to live with a large population and a limited number of tree domes, namely 2, and 1 farm, you need a way to accelerate plant growth in order for it to meet everybody's needs. Otherwise, it's going to be tragedy of the commons. They're all going to consume the food too quickly and not be able to grow more quickly enough to feed everyone. And they're not going to be able to regrow trees quickly enough to produce lumber for everybody's needs. So we got our livestock module here. And all the grass-eating animals are adjacent to pens with grass that don't have grass-eating animals inside, so that the grass can creep back through the fence. So they can't eat all of it, basically. They can't completely strip all the grass away. Grass can always regrow from the adjacent room. We got polar bears for some reason, just because there's a lot of pens in here. Cows, obviously, for beef. And the skins needed for books. Pandas, pigs. I had a devastating fire in this dome when it was made of wood. Everything burned down. All the animals died. That's when I stopped playing legit. Almost all this colony was built in survival originally, but I lost my mind with grief when the complete interior, because it was a pain in the ass getting these animals. I got all these legit originally by building a tunnel to the surface and a pool at the bottom, and then using leads to pull them down the tunnel one at a time. And I didn't want to do that again, so I said, you know what, fuck it. All right, from now on, I'm going to play creative, and that's how the remaining 25%, including Megadome, got built. Chickens, llamas. What even is a llama? Does anybody know? We got foxes, got horses, and I think that's it for now. You don't really need that many crops in Minecraft. Not many of them are useful. There's our mushroom dome out there. I've illuminated the seafloor around the inhabited portions of the seabed with sea pickles, so you can actually see the landscape outside. It's dark. It would be dark during the day. Otherwise, everything would be darkness all the time, which is not very conducive to good emotional and psychological health. So this is the enchanting and brewing module. I have the enchanting table up here. Again, efficient use of space. Nether wart for potions, which are brewed for the time being. They're brewed over here. Brewed. I'm going to use this space in the corner for auto potion machines. At some point, I found a really good compact potion machine design, so that we'll be able to brew 8 different kinds of potions in here, and it'll be all automatic. But those are a pain in the ass. They're extremely complicated to build. Once I get one built, I can replicate it easily enough. But actually getting it built in the first place, I've been putting that off for a long time. I do not want to do that, but I'm going to eventually. So this is where we access the Nether. That's actually how we get to back up to the Sky Colony eventually. Down here is the workshop area, which has job blocks for Old Town. Old Town and New Town each have their own workshop area. Not all of them. In fact, only a few. I think the rest are up here. Yeah, the rest of the job blocks are up here. But down here we have our smelters. Old Town has its own smelters, so you don't have to walk too far. We have mine access. Fuck. Why'd I do that? This is why we keep these doors shut. Do as I say, not as I do. These are all labeled but not alphabetized, which drives me crazy. I didn't think to alphabetize them when I first started storing things. I need to get even. I'm not even this organized in the sky yet. The sky storage is all just a big mess. Here's the mushroom dome, and it's pink carpet on green grass because this is not grass, it's mycelium. But this texture pack is not fully up to date, so it doesn't have mycelium yet. For everybody else, this will appear to be pink on pink and will blend in beautifully. But yes, we have our own dedicated dome just for mushrooms, which I don't believe we have in the sky. There's just not really room for that, unless we grow it on the ring, which I guess we'll have to do at some point. Got mushrooms in there, living their underwater lifestyle, which I neither affirm nor condemn. And now I guess all that remains to show you is how you get from the underwater colony up to the sky ring. I can't really show you Old Town from above at night, which I'd like to do because, of course, we're under ice. We're very, very much boxed in. Let's pop through the portal and see the Nether colony, which is your third choice of place to live. And you might say, why the fuck would I live in literal hell? I've made hell a pretty nice place to live, actually. You have your garden, and food will indeed grow in the Nether without water, just very slowly. It really helps to have the bees. The bees are in here somewhere but lost. They get lost easily in the Nether. We got a nature dome. That's right. We have beautiful, lush nature in the Nether. Those sometimes spawn inside. We usually have iron golems, but they don't last long. Iron golems normally keep the riffraff out. They just fucking spawn in here. I don't know what the deal is, but it's quite like living on Mars. If you want to live in space, the best I can do for you is the sky ring. If you want to live on Mars under domes, you can get most of the experience here. Although of course there's lava, so it's not really that Mars-like. Unlike other portions of the Nether, which also don't have fossilized trees, which is, I think, what those are. But you can see some of the tower from here. I have a giant tower. And one of the perks of living in the Nether is you get way more living space. Instead of having a 5x5 apartment like you get anywhere else, you get to have an entire floor of that tower to yourself. I just anticipated that nobody would want to live in the Nether, so I have to sweeten the pot somehow. This is how you get to the Sky Colony. This Nether portal connects to the Sky Colony for some reason. This is where we grow mushrooms. It used to be... See, I built this map originally in Bedrock, Win 10, and I converted it to Java, which created all sorts of problems because the two games don't work identically. There were air bubbles where there shouldn't be. Double chests were not connected. There were two individual chests. There are not connected blocks if you convert. Thank you, Robotomatron. It created a lot of problems. One of them was the portals don't link together the same way. You used to have a clean three-way link between that portal, the sky portal, and the underwater portal. You go into underwater, you come out here. Go back in here, you come out in the sky. It didn't quite work that way, so I had to make two portals. One where I really did not want it to be. I need to experiment with seeing if I can change the position and orientation of that portal in any way. But again, just like the underwater colony, this colony exists for a reason. Not just for the novelty of living in actual hell, in air-conditioned safety and comfort, because ghasts can't see through glass, so they don't shoot fireballs at you. But also, the primary function is resource extraction. Underwater, we farm kelp. Here, we collect lava. It's a fuel collection outpost. And you're somewhat safe until you get down to the ground level. I need to surround that ground level area with a box or something. I don't know. What do you think of the purple carpet? I think given that purple and blue are used elsewhere in the Nether, it's a fitting color combo. I had to choose a color theme for each of the colonies. I went with sky blue for the sky, obviously. I didn't go for blue underwater because didn't want to blend in too much. So I went for red to be rapture-like. This one is purple because I felt it contrasts the best with the Nether environment. This just lets you out over here so you can access this part of the map. There's another elevated grow bed up here. Make use of every square inch. It's easier to build in the Nether because you don't have to drain anything. But here's the tower I told you about. Let me go back to the tower. It's like the UAC bases in Hell from Doom 3. You can see the dome from here. It's quite a sight. In fact, as much fun as it is to build lush nature domes in the Nether, I once tried to terraform it on one of the other channels I've probably already told you about by this point in the video. You can see that in the Let's Play section of my family of channels, where I tried to layer grassy dirt over the surface of the Nether and plant trees. Pure hubris. That did not work out. Ghasts fucked it up almost immediately. The problem was I couldn't force ghasts not to spawn except by playing in peaceful, which defeated the purpose. So I needed to basically put blocks of some kind, glass blocks usually, just because they're hardest to see, at intervals in the air in like a three-dimensional grid, just so there was no space large enough that didn't have a block in it that the ghasts could actually spawn. It was a mess. It's a much bigger job than I anticipated. But yeah, you got these cozy domes. I also like the view of, this is the enchanting module, by the way, and the potion brewing module and all the stuff you saw. Same as, nope, no thank you, as the one in the underwater module colony and the sky colony. They all have their own area that serves this purpose. So this whole area could be your apartment. You get all this room to do whatever you want with. Not that I ever found any need for that personally. There's the mushroom module, which I think I nestled into a neat little alcove. I think I chose a good terrain feature to build that on, personally. It looks really cool from here, just the arches and everything, and the mushrooms going about their business in hell. None the wiser. This is very much the same cozy chrysalism feeling as the underwater colony, except that underwater, what the structure protects you from is drowning. Whereas here, it's literal monsters. Sort of like the plot of all those. Actually, lots of anime have that plot where people live under domes or in protected cities because they're in a world. I guess Half-Life 2 technically falls into that genre. Or Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, or any number of other stories where people live inside of cloistered environments because the world is now a hostile place. There's this module over here, which also has lava access down there as a substitute for a mine. We don't really have a mine per se because there's not really that much to be. I guess there's netherite and there's quartz. So this is the area that has storage. I sacrificed 3/4 of it for an amazing panoramic window. Look at that view. Look at that view. Unparalleled. Look at that little cozy dome. I love the look of domes from afar when seen from inside. So you can continue down through the floor like you can in the workshop module of Seatopia, and access through an button-operated iron door the outside environment to collect lava in buckets, which is our primary fuel source. We have it made in the shade. Can you deny it? We're set. We have everything you could need. We have all the infrastructure we need to live comfortably and safely in every environment in the game except for the end so far. We have access to infinite fuel source. We have access to renewable sources of meat and animal products, of trees, of crops. I got artificial astroturf up here just to complete the feeling, so for the comfort of the animals. We have some life forms native to the Nether up here, so I wanted it to be a little bit different. What more could you ask for, really? The only thing we're really missing is like a Walmart and a Starbucks. Now, what I touched on earlier is that we have not colonized the end yet. I have mixed feelings. I don't know exactly what I want to do with the end. I think a space station. I think I want to build something quite like Skyring, but enclosed with glass, and I want to destroy all the Nether stuff. So you're just in a featureless black void. So it really looks like you're in space, which it does not when you're in the sky, except kind of at night. It does if you don't look down at the ground. But this is a good start. I mean, 3 of the 4 hostile environments in the game have been settled almost completely. I haven't finished the tower yet, obviously. There's not carpet on some parts of it. But the nice thing about having a tower is it gives you 3-dimensional access to the Nether environment. There are tunnels coming off of the sides that go to every level. You do not need elytra. You do not need fireworks to explore the Nether completely. You can reach every level, every part of the Nether in total comfort and safety on this server. Unprecedented. Let's continue going upwards. There's a surprise at the top. This level is also accessible. It's completely built out, so you can reach anywhere you want to. So I don't think we're going to have any problems where you deplete resources in one part of the environment. That's right, you little shit. Run the fuck. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. If I catch you, I'm going to fuck you. If I catch you, I'm going to fuck you. If I catch you, I'm going to fuck you. Oh, I got you. I'm a little pig and I won't get spotted. I'm a little pig and I won't get... Yeah, but you can reach anywhere. It's as comfortable and safe as it could be. I just don't have carpet everywhere yet. We even have a dedicated nature dome environment up here. Same reason as we have it underwater. This is not really, as you can see by the 4 trees, this is not really intended for a park. I mean, this is not intended for lumber. We already have a lumber dome down there. Way the fuck down there. This is intended just for relaxation and to give you green space. Immediately accessible to all apartment dwellers in the Nether. There used to be iron golems on every floor. Could you come over here? Yeah, that's right. What now? What are you going to do now? I have a DVD like that. Where it's just a bunch of big dudes and one... You know what? I'm going to stop that thought there. So, this is what you have at your disposal in the Nether. This is all if you build a lot of redstone machinery, if you experiment, if you just need a lot of living space to feel comfortable, this is the place you want to live. There's I don't know how many floors there are. They're uncountable. That's probably not true. I think there's less than 20, somewhere between 12 and 20. In fact, a very countable number. But this is what we have so far in the Nether. We're going to have a presence in the end at some point. We have a colony underwater with 42 apartments. We have a colony in the sky with 32 apartments. Every colony has every resource that you need enclosed in a convenient environment that is safe to access. Where did I come from here? I came from here. And all this can be yours for the low, low price of whatever tier you want to sub at. And giving me your Minecraft username by Patreon DMs so I can whitelist you. And the server should be in the video description, but it's hampture.com. That should be easy to remember, right? You just put that in the server browse thing in the game. And I think that's all for this video. I have shown you the complete sky colony, the complete underwater colony, and the complete nether colony. These are self-contained, self-supporting ecosystems in the sky, beneath the sea, and in hell itself. Again, where else have you seen this? What other streamer not only has gone this far to tame the wild in this game and create a space that is functional and pleasurable and safe to live in, where no life should be possible in this game, but who has also invited his fan base to come and live with him and share in the dream. Only with Hampshire. So if you're on the fence and you like Minecraft and you want to play on a server and you can behave yourself, we are going to have mods that identify griefers, by the way, and we're going to have nightly backups, so don't worry too much about that. Consider choosing the impossible, like this floating rabbit here. Join me, join the others who have so far been whitelisted and moved into their own apartments. Claim your apartment, choose which colony you're going to live in, and become part of this beautiful and elaborate cry for help.
That's all for this time, and all I have to show of the server currently. I look forward to anybody who's up to choosing the impossible joining me down there for a better life beneath the sea.
Fun, fun. Now get under there. There you go. See? I told you it'd be fun. We're having fun. And that's how we control population. You saw nothing.